Welcome to Sugoi Kakkoii, the podcast so nice we named it twice. I'm Caden.
I'm Greg.
And I'm Ariana.
We're an anime review podcast in which we review the top 3 anime of a season, as rated by My Anime List, as well as 3 additional sleeper pick series, one picked by each of us. The docket for today is Violet Evergarden, then Citrus, then Death March, then Pop Team Epic, then Ito Junji Collection, then Hakata Tonkotsu Ramens. And let's get in this, boys.
Let's get
New
right
week, new weeks.
So, 10 minutes are on the clock, ladies and gentlemen, and we are about to talk about Violet Evergarden.
Ooh, new waifu. New waifu.
New what?
I mean, she's not new.
Old
She's
waifu.
She's not new, but she's new in the fact that now she has character, so you can waifu.
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean
So
Iris?
isn't just the jerk that we found. By the way, Caden, you got your map.
Yeah,
Thought
for
I should
2
mention
seconds. For 2 seconds, and it was
Well-
it was like a topographical map. It was like in Full Metal Alchemist, it's like color coded. Like this is this country. Like yeah, like a kindergarten could read that. That was like I had to be like a college grad student, and they showed it for 1 second, like 2 frames. It's like there's your map.
Alright, fair enough. But,
Alright.
I mean, to be fair, you're already able to derive that it's at least like a Pangea landscape, so I thought that was interesting, but...
Well,
Yeah,
like
it's not really
I like how they like give you snippets of lore because it's way more interesting than say like a Death March. It shows you like oh there's elections and there's a commons in this country. It's like that's how the war started. It's like okay now I want to know more.
Yeah.
Like
If
actually
Death March
care.
actually
Well, I
have
mean-
lore. It doesn't.
I mean, okay.
Well, it
from
does
what
have
I've
lore.
gathered-
It does have lore. We'll get to that
I don't
though.
know if you would... I wouldn't count it as lore.
I mean, from what I've gathered, how does the war start? Like, the Gardarki
The
Empire?
Gardariki
invades
Empire
North
invades-
Leden?
Yeah, and for like minerals
Like,
or something.
Yeah, it's almost like the Franco-Prussian War, if we were to allude it to real life.
Wow.
I feel, but
Wow.
I don't know.
You think
Little-
our
you got yourself a
You
little
think- you think
snippet
our-
of history there. We got a little
I don't
history
know, I'm just
lesson
saying.
here.
If you want to have an analogy, but
But there was
I'm
like
not sure.
rice fields here. Like I'm not quite sure like what
Yeah,
country
no,
this
okay.
is supposed to be
really
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
compared to.
understand
Her
the
family
geography
pulled
too
up.
well.
Her family pulled up on a fucking water buffalo with a freaking
Yeah, like-
carabao. I'm like, all right, so we're like apparently in Southeast Asia now with the
Yeah,
rice
like-
Okay,
paddies and
speaking
shit.
of that scene though, was the if a client requests we shall go anywhere, like that sequence that was like the most beautiful animation.
We shall
of the show.
never
Can
deny
you
Yeah,
guys-
you ever
Guess-
die and guess think
That
of the
was-
most ridiculous
Ridiculous
request.
request.
Then Mr. Krabs walked
Like-
out. No,
That's
like
all I heard out of Violet.
I was
Yeah.
very conflicted with that scene when she like curtsies because it's like it's so beautiful, but then it's also like we just had like a minute scene of slow mo curtsying and like bowing. Like okay, like so you're this kind of
Wait,
show, huh?
Do you understand? Like, it was so emphasized because of the fact that like, oh, this is the first time that Violet didn't like do a stupid salute thing. She did like an actual bow.
Oh yeah, you're
That's-
right.
that's
Look,
how-
there's character building
Yeah.
there.
See that's
Yeah,
what
that is
happens
true.
when I take notes for once.
You know,
You know what I
that's
noticed?
right.
You know what I noticed? Everyone wears heels. Everyone.
Wow.
Everyone
Even the
wears
men.
heels. Yeah, even Benedict
You know,
wore heels.
we're
Every
learning.
person, like, they're out in the country where everyone's wearing heels. Is that the only shoe they
we're
have?
doing the world building.
I need to go back to episode 1 and
Fashion
look at the
style.
transition scenes to see who's wearing heels or not. Is that the norm? But then she like trips over
I guess so.
everything. Like, so she's not used to heels? Is that like a city thing? Then why is
yeah,
Violet
I
wearing
think
it?
it is a city thing because of the fact that like she was born and like raised at like the farms and shit. I guess she's
Yeah,
used to
and
it.
also
farm.
if we are to say that this is like a steampunk setting and it takes place in like 20th and 19th century, it is true that men used to wear heels before women did because
Yeah.
to men it thought that it made them taller.
Okay,
and
okay, history
made them more
lesson,
superior.
Greg.
So like,
You want to give me
I
an
don't know,
AP
I'm
Euro
just
test
trying
while
to
you're
pull
at
out
it?
Facts. Oh my god.
Dude, come on,
Just
it's a
trying to
Saturday,
give
not
an
a
analogy.
weekday. It's a weekend, baby.
Yeah.
No school here.
I left school. Yeah, I left school back yesterday. Oh baby.
Oh my gosh.
No, like this is
Well-
one of those episodes where it's like, oh, it's boring, nothing happens. But it's like if you're not watching this for like a character-driven it's like emotion based. You're not gonna be seeing like action scenes. You're not gonna see Violet pull out a magic gun and like conceal her level or anything. You're gonna be watching her grow as a character.
Well, see, okay, that's actually an interesting thing, because I do think that I was right and I was wrong with my prediction, like, last episode when I was saying that these are just going to be a bunch of character short stories. I feel like it's not Violet that's developing as a character, it's more the other characters that interact with her.
Well,
and I think that's an important distinction to make.
Well, that's the point, because
she grows as they grow, kind of thing. Like they learn their lesson that episode.
No, but I don't even think she's growing. That's the thing, though. I don't even think that she's growing that much, because she's still extremely monotone. Like, granted, it's probably like baby steps, right? But
like next episode, she's like Yuzu, like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like, okay, so we already know that she's unable to pick up on, like, these subtle social cues. So I think what's interesting is that... well, what I think it's interesting is that when she has to capture the emotion of people, they have to rant to her and give her, like, this heart-to-heart. So, in a way, the only reason that she's able to write is because the characters that she's talking to are forced to develop because they have to yell all of their feelings at her for her to understand.
Well, if you think about it, like, Violet is, as you said before, like, she's a very monotone character. Well, we have to progress through the story through the views of, like, the point of views of all the other characters, because if we go through the point of view of Violet Evergarden herself, then, like, this anime would be even more of like a piece of slate cardboard. Like it would be super boring.
Like I woke up, I wrote a stupid letter for the tan girl.
Yeah, no, but Violet's point of view, she's like, dude, I had to make a stupid letter and all that stuff. I don't know. It's just like the progress between characters is just the only way you can make this anime engaging between characters, because Violet's obviously not making anything better. That's
no, I like how her mom got woken up by the sound of a letter slipping quietly under the door. Don't you just hate it when you stir from your bed when it's like it didn't even make a noise. There wasn't even a sound effect. She just woke up. Like, is that a letter? I swore I heard a letter.
She's like
nice plot
letter sensing abilities. Oh wait, I wanted to point out something.
It's a little like melodrama.
I want to point out something. Did you know that like all the female characters' names are based off of flowers? It's not just Iris.
They tried to make it like
the
whole
I just realized that.
Scene.
Well, it's not just Iris. I mean, like what was it, Lulucia or whatever? The girl with the brother.
Luculia.
It's a flower.
Luculia.
Dude, that fucking blew my mind when I realized, like, I was like, oh shit, maybe like all the girls' names are flowers. And then I started Googling all their names. I'm like, oh my god, they are. Holy shit.
Sarah Florent, like Flora. Huh. Makes you think.
I don't know. If I was a botanist, I'd try and find symbolism in the
symbolism.
Some symbol.
Well, you see, violets are all.
Violets
only bloom at a very specific time of year, hence reflecting. It's like okay, like I get it. It's a pretty show. It's symbolic. I get it. It's a little like. I think it's melodramatic in the fact that it's like, wow, look at this beautiful scenery and these complex characters. And it's like to a point, like you can appreciate that, but I see where it'd be hard to like get involved in it if you're not watching it for that. If you're just watching it for like fun or something.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
And I'm a little bit scared though, because even though I've been like singing the praises of Violet Evergarden, I also do recognize that it is becoming a little bit slow. And the more I say, oh, just wait on it, it's gonna pull through its story, I almost feel like they're trying to compensate way too much with just aesthetics. Like, at this moment, it is true that really the only thing that's carrying the show is how beautiful it looks. And granted, like, there is like character development that's like trying to be the focal point of the show. But I almost feel that a lot of the emotions and the backstories behind the characters are better written than they are shown. Because
it's like
with
a
the
light
amount of
novel,
flashbacks that are happening right now, it's almost, that would work so much better in literature than it would in an anime. And because of that, I fear that Kyoto Annie isn't going to be able to capture all of it, and that's what's going to make this underwhelming. I'm still going to give it the benefit of the doubt, because this is still great source material.
Like if your source material is like written work, and you're making it into a visual medium, of course there's going to be like differences. Like,
yeah,
you have to engage them on a level like that. Yeah,
that's the comparison between like a movie and the original novel where it first derived from. So that's basically what you're trying to say here. That,
like if Violet just sat down and went on this super long tangent with like no visuals other than like a still of her, then yeah, it'd be like, okay, I get it, and I appreciate how they do try to convey everything. And it's like one of those things, like if you don't want to watch a story about people talking to each other, then this obviously is not the show for you, because this is what it is.
Yeah, it's basically just an amplified slice of life anime with like, you know, just it's a little different, just the scenery and the setup and everything, but the same concept of this anime is the same for any slice of life, just character development.
Right.
Wow.
All right, well, as 10 minutes are wrapping up, I guess the consensus is just
this anime.
It's good, but we have our eyes on you, Violet. You slip up even a little,
and I think it's gonna stop being slow once Major shows up. Being alive,
right.
he's alive.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
Once he shows up, the anime starts gonna pick up, but then it's gonna drop from there. That's gonna be my big bet. It's gonna drop pretty quick.
He's gonna be a robot. I already called it. Episode 1.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, in any case, let's move on then, because 10 minutes are up. So, what's next on the docket?
Citrus. Wow, great episode, guys. Yeah, for context, Greg, before I watched this, he's like, "Yeah, everything really got better this week, even Citrus."
Okay.
So I went into this thinking like, "Okay, let's see." Yeah, let's explain yourself.
So when I said, okay, let me explain myself. So when I said that when things got better, granted, episode 3 was a very low bar. Now, there were so many things in this episode that infuriated me, and don't worry, we're gonna get to those soon after I'm done. But I do think that at the end, when I got to see like the jealous, somber, like pensive Yuzu that wasn't so like bubbly and so excited, like just obnoxious in a sense, I almost thought that it was refreshing, just because she, even though this is clearly like, what's the vice president's name? I don't know, but she like literally raped May and then tried to like
Himiko Momokino. Fun fact. When Yuzu called her curls, I thought like I forgot the name too, and I'm like, oh man, is that like such an unforgettable character that I didn't remember that? Like I wrote down notes and I didn't remember the name, and it's like, no, my name's blah blah blah. It's like, were you?
No, but I thought it was nice, though, that Yuzu didn't, like, take this whole animated, super comical approach, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that the vice president is trying to rape my sister. Like, it's a lot more controlled, I guess. And if they're going to try and make Yuzu and Mei have a relationship, as hard as that is for me to say that and associate the two, I do think that they're at least handling jealousy well, because like that is true.
Like ham-fisted saying out loud, "Oh, is this jealousy? Is handling it well?" That's like Violet saying, "Like I'm like the major's dog."
It's like,
I get it.
Straight up jealousy, because like Yuzu at first had like a lot of what was it called? She had a lot of denial about the fact that it happened, and then like at the end, like she didn't know how to deal with it. I don't think it was like straight up jealousy, because she, in all honesty, she didn't know how to deal with what was happening. So.
Yeah.
I mean, when you open up your episode with reused animation on episode 4, I think I'm going to be a little mad about it.
Yes.
Why?
All right. Well, since we gave our 2 cents on like why it may have slightly redeemed itself, I will admit, yes, there were problems. One of the things I just want to mention before you go on a rant, Caden. So when the vice president and May, like they had that flashback where the vice president was like, "Oh my gosh, I was like friends with her since we were like in elementary school," right? The show is basically hinting that the vice president was gay for May, like, when they were 8.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, no, everyone's gay in this universe. Just accept it, dude. Suspend your disbelief, because everyone loves each other. It's a lovely world. Yeah. And like, but then in this episode, in this episode, they say like, but it's a girls' school. Like Yuzu says that or something. It's like but you know that all of them do this. Like we get it. Like they're making it like we
we already went through the fact that like Harumin even clearly stated that she's like, yeah, it's a girls' school. I mean, like some people do it just for funsies and what, so it's kind of normal here. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know how that works.
But like that shot when she said that, like everyone is holding hands. So it's like, why is it a surprise anymore? Like, why is that such a shocker to Yuzu? Like, a relationship. Like, this is a girls' school. It's like, really, Yuzu, huh? I mean, think about that for a second.
I mean, it's natural, and then she goes over and kisses Yuzu.
Yeah. No, like, okay. What I don't understand is, so when the vice president confronts Yuzu and is like, I'm in a relationship with Mei, ha, screw you. Like, her natural assumption is that Yuzu is gay for Mei, but, like, where's the evidence that she saw to make that assumption?
None.
Because when she was watching Yuzu, the only thing that was happening was literally stuff that he explained as just being, like, sisters. And she immediately just assumes, oh, she's trying to get in Mei's pants. I caught her. I gotta stop her.
Well, everyone's gay in this universe. So everyone's gay in this universe, so like nothing's sacred. So I think you have to look over your shoulder for literally everything. Like, I just saw a girl talk to that girl, so they're obviously getting it on. like I watched Death March, and I'm having fun because I can't wait to see how bad it gets. Yeah, I can't wait to see how bad it gets. It's because it's like funny. It's like hilariously funny. I watched Citrus, and it's like a gut punch of being like, yep, you're watching this and you're not having fun because it's that bad. It's not even so bad it's good. It's just bad.
I find it. Yeah, I find it enjoyable.
No, but like the problem is, like, okay, when the vice president and Yuzu are trying to have like their conversation at like whatever that tea like fancy place was called, they tried to put so much like seriousness in that conversation and it didn't work because
I love the sound effects they do.
So obnoxious. Like, what did
you see the walking CG?
Hand slam, stand up on table.
I see the CG every episode. It's so bad.
It was for like 2-3 seconds. It was trying to emphasize the fact that like the student council like vice president was angry at like Yuzu for trying to steal Mei. It was like a 3-second CG of the ground. It was just the ground.
Yeah, it's awful. No, the sound effects are so funny because it's like Yuzu would say something and it would like pan over slowly to the vice president and it go like like super serious, like loud, like distracting sound effects, like whoosh. Like, okay, yeah, like it's not that big of a deal. Like it's a panning shot. Like we get it. And then when they're out on the street and they happen to run into Mei and the words that come out of the vice president's mouth are, what a coincidence. And that's it. It wasn't even like, oh, Mei was looking for Yuzu. Because even if she was, she wouldn't have known she was there. That doesn't even make sense.
Also, just to add, is it a fetish in Japan for the dad to be called sensei?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
I could have stopped you at, is it a fetish in Japan? I could have stopped you there.
Calling her dad like Mr. and then like last name, whatever her last name is. I thought it was like Mr. something.
Like they explained it innocently enough, and I want to give it the benefit of the doubt.
No, that's definitely some like role-playing stuff. That's some role-playing stuff, dude. Yeah, that definitely is like not cool.
I don't know, Greg. Cool. You can go ahead and do some research on that one.
I'd rather not. I'll be honest. I'd rather not.
No, I saw like also, I saw like the armband that like they have in student council, and I thought of like C's, and I'm like, I had like a 5-minute like like interval where I'm like, wouldn't this be so much better if this anime was just Persona? Like, wouldn't it be so much like what if Yuzu just had like a Persona come out? Like what a redemption arc for the show.
What if Mei was Mitsuru from Persona 3? And Yuzu's Minako. Honestly, I'd watch that.
I'd watch that. It. Hands down.
Yeah.
Persona 3, ladies and gentlemen. But also, did you guys notice that the vice president and Yuzu both have a fetish for hair?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
They're both like, oh my god, Mei, your hair smells so nice. And I was like,
I mean, I consider myself a heterosexual individual, but I've never stopped myself to look at a girl and say, man, what if that hair, dude? But that hair, bro. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's a normal thing for people to say, unless it's tying back to like it smells like citrus, title drop, roll credits.
That's the call.
How much you want to bet that there is a shampoo like brand out there in Japan that is about to pull off a citrus related commercial? Because Love Live did the same thing but with bubblegum. At least it was like there's no relation to it. But citrus has a chance.
If this big punchline is a citrus scented like lotion or like hair
hair product, or like
I'm gonna lose my mind.
That's gonna be.
What if they listen to this podcast and they hear that? And you're like, oh shit, we should do that.
Yeah,
it's a good idea. Holy
the Passion people, they're like, wait a second, we can market this like that. Watashi wa our sponsors.
Oh my god.
No, I was talking to Greg earlier, and I'm like, I write my notes for the show like really late Friday night. I write like for everything, so I have this like scrawlings on paper, and I usually have like some recollection of like writing what I'm talking about. But I have a line dedicated here under citrus. Like I think this is right after like I found out like the vice president was also gay for May, and I wrote like everyone is gay. I said big bold letters, kill me. And I don't remember writing that, but I think that's my subconscious telling me like get out while I can.
That was I think Death March.
That's like a Freudian slip.
Actually.
Like kill me.
Hey, it looks like I wrote the same note but for Death March. But on citrus, I'm reading my notes, which is very minimal because I couldn't take watching this. Anyway, so like one of the notes was like it says here, this proves that May is definitely a bottom. Like I was watching this entire episode, and it came to my conclusion that these past few episodes we've seen May try to dominate Yuzu, right? But then there's that one slight scene where it's like it caught her off guard with like Yuzu trying to like top her. It was kind of weird, but like it was uncomfortable for everyone, right? But today, or a week ago or whatever, this episode, like the vice president like made a move on May, and May was helpless, and I was like, dude, she is the bottom. It's confirmed in this one. It's kind of gross, but
I mean, that's a deep subset.
I mean, yeah. Now that you mention, it's almost like she has like an inferiority complex and wanted to do that just so she could boost her self-esteem.
Oh my gosh. This is way deeper than I thought.
We're breaking the code. This is so deep. Well, anyway, we eclipsed 10 minutes again with citrus, so
it's about to be like 30 with Death March.
This is Death March. We might have to make an exception because Kaden and I are about to go off.
We all have rants on this, like
you guys go ahead.
Rants.
While you guys are ranting,
I will start with the only good thing that this show has done.
I'm probably going to say it's wrong too.
And it is that.
Which is?
They are true to experience party mechanics in that each person has to be involved in the combat.
I actually wrote that down as a
That
note.
is the only thing that I found that was that positive in this entire show.
It's like a real video game. That's it.
It's like a real video game.
Yeah, no, I wrote that down as like a note. It's like that stupid thing where like you have a starter Pokemon. Yeah, okay. That's what I was going to say.
It's like Pokemon.
Yep, wow. Well, okay, who wants to rant first? Who wants to rant first?
Okay, let me go first.
You guys go ahead.
Okay. So my problem with this entire episode was the power mechanic. So let's establish first that Satu is literally level 310. Yep. He faces a level 10 enemy, and he maxes sharpshooting in the last episode, and he's using a gun that is a god tier drop. He shoots the level 10 enemy, and it doesn't die instantly. As opposed to when he uses a literal rock to throw at the eyeball demon, and he insta-kills the eyeball demon with a literal rock. Similarly,
such a mess,
when he uses a fire shot against a level 10 slime, it proves to have no effect. But when he uses the same skill on a level 62 demon, it nearly one-shots it. What's more is that even though the fire proved ineffective against the slime, and this guy's level 310, the first strategic play he orders Lisa to do when there's a horde of slime that are attacking like all the rest of the party members, he's like, okay, well, since fire proved ineffective when I try to go against the slime, how about you distract them with torches? And I was like, why would you ever? That's not gonna work. But apparently it worked. As soon as freaking, I don't even know her name. I'm gonna refer to her as Dog because that was her given name.
Dog.
When Dog just waves a torch at the slime's like, oh my god, it's a torch, and then it dies. But apparently Satu can't do the same thing with his 310 level magic. That's one part. If I were to talk again about magic, I thought it was funny that the first thing that like the combat leader, when they're fighting the eyeball demon and they're trying to like fight them with everybody but Satu, the first thing they say is, "Mages, please use defense magic on the front lines." The mages then proceed to use it on literally only themselves. And I was like, wow, that's a great way to have.
No, that was in character. They're just dicks.
Yeah, you know. And then I also don't understand how the guy in the cocoon got out.
Oh
like,
my god! Can I talk about that for a sec? Can I talk about that for a sec? He literally left that guy to die. He left that guy to die. He got out somehow. He gets saved, quotation marks, by Dog and Cat. And now he's like, wow, thank you so much for saving me. That was, man, I was so in the wrong. They left him to die in the cocoon.
They literally left him to die.
Okay,
speaking of being left to die, this is the part that I find most hilarious. So, okay, Satu, he dons this ridiculous disguise and he defeats the demon, right? But the real Satu fell off a cliff. Literally fell off a cliff.
And no one questioned
So, once the demon is defeated by the Satu that's masked and no one knows it's him, everyone in the party decides to leave the labyrinth. And how do we know that they left him and they didn't even bother searching? It's because they're surprised to see him alive. They're literally like, we thought you were dead. Which means that they literally abandoned him as soon as they saw him fall off the cliff. And I just find that so stupid, because here he is building already a 5-person harem, and no one cares that he literally fell off a cliff. No one bothers to have a search party. Instead, they're just like, oh, okay, the demon's defeated, better go. And they're like, oh yeah.
Ooh, dodge your bullet there, sucks about Sachi. Okay, can I go on my list? Can I hit my list?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, well, titles and skills don't make any sense at all. Now, in the episode, what I assumed happened is whenever you do any little thing, you automatically unlock that thing, that like ability or skill or title. But then he says in the episode, I guess they're acquired as you level up. So I'm like, okay, well, that would make sense for why he has so many then, and I guess they're just activating as he uses them, because he's like level 310. But then in the same episode, he says he accidentally uses the preset trap, and it says, thank goodness I have trap setting. It's not his trap. That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what is he talking about? And then he gets the skills as he does them, and he admits he does too. So how did the skills work? They just work differently for him? Does it work like, well, everyone else gets them level up, but I could like breathe and get breathing level 10 because I'm me. Like, are they skill points?
Okay, actually,
that doesn't make sense.
That you mention it.
It's
funny that you mention it, because remember when he you know how he like launches that undead beast through the trapdoor, and that's how he defeats him?
Yeah.
Well, when that happens, he gets the skill trap setting, but the trap was already set in the dungeon because the same trapdoor trap.
Like, oh, thank goodness for that skill. Like, he had it beforehand.
But
it was an acquired skill on the top of the screen. It's not even like the application of the skill. Oh my gosh. And then we got to more food stuff this episode, and I died, but I came back to life. But the food scene didn't help, because that was a minute long too. Oh man.
Oh, speaking of food, when the eyeball demon brainwashes the demi-humans, all of a sudden they're brainwashed into thinking the soldiers like chicken, because, you know, food.
Then he takes them out with a karate chop to the neck in a row. It's like he like walks up,
oh my
thunk,
god,
thunk, thunk, and then they wake up 2 seconds later anyway. They wake up 2 seconds later anyway. They literally wake up 2 seconds because they're like, well, I smell him. It's like, wait, when did you wake up? That was 2 seconds for him changing to like stupid costume.
Also, more about the food. So, Okay, more about the food. So, number 1, they find a frying pan in a labyrinth log cabin. I already don't even know how the log cabin got there. But from all the scenes in the log cabin, it's literally just a library. But somehow they find a frying pan in there. They proceed to then start a fire underground. And why would you ever start a fire underground when you have the risk of dying from asphyxiation?
Wasting their oxygen.
You're wasting.
They're like level
literally
10.
no reason why they did that,
thanks for
other
the
than the
jerky.
fact to add more food scenes. That's the only reason. They
Acquired
eat
skill,
jerky.
holding breath. Acquired skill, suffocating.
Yeah, didn't you know he maxed out his air breathing skill?
Oh, you know.
He
Yeah.
maxed out his holding breath
Greg.
tolerance.
Yeah.
In
Everyone
episode 2.
maxes out
Didn't you remember,
these.
idiot?
It's like default maxing.
And then how about that really weird, like, bathing scene with lollies
Oh my god.
that are confirmed to be like 5 years old? Didn't like
I thought
that.
it was hilarious. I thought that was hilarious, especially.
I didn't.
because-
I had to clear my
No,
history after
it's
that.
because that bathing scene, it happened in the middle of a labyrinth montage where, like, he was, like, killing monsters and they were training and stuff. The only parts that dialogue was added in that montage, aka the parts that were deemed important by the studio, were the parts where food was mentioned and the bathing scene.
I know where their priorities are at.
That bathing scene.
You already know where their priorities
Oh my
are.
gosh.
They want no. I bet the staff are people that got kicked off of Shokugeki no Soma. They were on there and they're like every scene. It's like, yeah, we want to like tone back every like tasting scene. It's like, but why? It's so interesting. It's like, yeah, I know, but like you submitted way too much for this. Like this wasn't even from the manga. Like you just like fan drew some of these. It's like, yeah, well, I really like it. It's like,
They literally
have you heard of
traced
Death
it.
March? Have you heard of Death March? I think your talent should be more suited over there. Oh yeah, let me give it a try.
They fucking sent them to Weenie Hut Jr. of this anime, of the anime industry.
How
Like,
tough
they're
are you? I love
like,
food and
okay.
naked shots. It's like,
I
yeah,
get
how
to-
about you go over this Death March?
Yeah, I get to say like my part. Like, okay, I want to say that there are 2 anime on this like whole doc season of all the anime we're watching. There's 2 anime that I'm not willing to watch on flat screen TV in front of like everyone in my living room. I would watch everything except for Citrus and Death March. And there's one big reason why I'm not watching Death March on the big screen. Okay, there's a reason why Citrus. I think Citrus is obvious. I can't watch that on the big screen. But Death March, I cannot because of 2 things. One, that fucking bath scene that I could not like. It was 2 seconds, but it was 2 seconds too long. I can't deal with that.
I immediately looked up like FBI surveillance in your area.
Yeah, no,
like,
FBI
to check, to make sure I wasn't
definitely raised an eyebrow there when they first saw that scene.
knock,
pop up
knock,
on my
knock.
screen. And then, but like,
Oh, did you
the
watch
second
Death
reason-
March episode 4?
I can't watch it because of the stupid Pochi and Tama's super high voice. Like, I can't watch it with that. Like, this is the only anime where, out of all the anime we're watching, this is actually one of the only anime that I can't stand its voice acting, and it's super
Well,
high
like
pitched.
I wouldn't show this to my worst enemy, let alone like my loved ones. Like I don't hate them.
I mean, okay, on the topic of demi-human slaves, though, let's keep in mind that the very last scene, Satu tells this merchant,
like I'm not interested in the girl
any more
walks
slaves.
out.
Proceeds
put that on my
as
notes.
soon as he sees the girl,
put that on my
he
notes.
says the 2 adjectives that he uses to describe the girl are cute and fragile. Number 1, who calls someone fragile and is not a rapist? And number 2, have you guys noticed that
I could break her.
now they're going to be 5... Okay, did you notice that 5 out of 6 of the girls in his current harem are all slaves?
Hot.
Like, just
5
the
out of 6 of
implication.
them are
Like,
also,
a 5
like,
out of 6 of them are
12
literally
12 years
slaves.
old and under.
Like,
Yeah.
where...
Notice
You
how he didn't even
you
like
know
he
that that
didn't
was
free the
intentional.
slaves. He didn't even free them when they were like got like I was expecting like, okay, now you're not slaves, but you're probably gonna hang around with me because you like me so much. He kept them as slaves. He kept them.
Question: When did we establish the fact that Satu was dating someone? Like when
Yeah, he's not, but everyone's like, yeah, he's not, but everyone says that.
Oh my god, are you cheating on me? And then like her priest or whatever, and it's like, let's find that out later because we have other problems to deal with. But like, let's see if he's cheating.
And literally, the only time she had to convey that to the priest would have been the one night he stayed at the inn. That was it. That was like a span of 8 hours that she had to run back and be like, I met the love of my life. We're dating now. I met him today. And the priest's like, oh yeah, seems cool.
Oh, it's cool. I'm still wrapped out about the demi-human thing though, because when he teaches Pochi about like how to use a knife, he gets the skill tamer instead of educator.
Yeah, that was messed up.
And Sato is literally self-aware of how creepy that sounds, because he's literally being called a tamer for small 5-year-old children.
She's part dog, so like...
Death March is like it's like a wreck on a highway. Like, it's awful, but everyone slows down to crane their necks and look at, like, the mess that was made. And then they carry on with their days. And that's what Death March is. I watch the docket, I see the car wreck off to the side, I peek, I see the bathing scene, I clear my cache, my browser history, and I drive away. I don't look back.
And on that note, and being 5 minutes over time, I think that we should move on to our next anime.
Pop
and
Team!
Forget that this ever happened.
Pop Team!
Pop Team.
Yay!
Alright. Breath of fresh air. I'm just gonna take a pause.
Yeah,
One of you can start this.
I have a
I
things to say about this one.
You should start.
Well, like for starters, like I started to see like a little pattern going on. We get to see like a long segment of a skit, and sometimes that skit's not even funny, and that was this episode. Like that long skit, I didn't understand. Like at the beginning, I was like, oh, this is kind of funny, like haha. She's like, but then it kind of like progressed downwards, and that was not where I wanted to see it go. And then I was like, well, that's kind of saddening because I wasted like what is like an 8-minute segment. I did not enjoy that. At the end, it just blew me off, and I was like, well, that was unenjoyable. I didn't want to see that happen again in this like, anime series. Like they're wasting all their like precious time and like talent in this like stupid segment. And then what was that?
Are you talking about the skeleton racing?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Well, my favorite part of that was they say cool running, like cool running.
Oh yeah,
but that's a
cool
bobsled.
running.
That's a bobsled movie. That's about bobsled, not skeleton. Those are two different sports.
I mean, it's supposed to be kind of bobsledding.
No, what I didn't understand, and I thought that it was a joke, was like the announcer was like, oh, and all the racers are off, and when the announcer says that, it's only Popuko that's racing, and I was like, is this a joke? And then all of a sudden they come out of nowhere, and she's facing like 20 people, and the poor family of penguins, they just got demolished.
Oh my god, they needed to censor that
gosh.
sometime. They need to censor that. Like, that was pretty graphic. That I'm gonna say that scene was...
that was pretty aggressive.
That was pretty graphic.
I did not expect this from a kid's show.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Sorry.
No, they had like a
show where they had a lot of
this
cussing
episode got a little
middle fingers.
It got a little reference heavy this episode. A little like little like
the fire
robot
wind
chickeny.
They had a Let's Groove reference.
You got wacky.
Oh,
you
yeah,
have wacky races, Donkey Kong Country. Literally, Let's Groove, like just that song.
That's literally
like,
Let's Groove. Yeah,
just that song.
If you didn't understand that reference when you first saw the first scene with like the mic and the first couple of
my gosh,
then you're
notes
racist
from the song. If you didn't understand, the
you hate
reference,
black
I'm
people.
very sorry. Yeah,
it was funny though because like one of the like things, the text that was flying in was
Mod's not doing your job.
Mod's not doing your job.
Really
What are they even parodying? What are they even parodying?
Yeah.
And like it's a ripoff. It's a ripoff.
It's literally just like Earth, Wind, and Fire guys.
And that was a Nico Dugo reference.
No, like honestly, it seems like everything, and I think I've noticed this, is everything is a reference besides the Bob teams. And you were mentioning how like they deliberately made Bob teams by like
garbage.
redrawing them.
Yeah.
And I think the reason might be because those are like the original slapstick out of nowhere type comedy, but the
so it's like not a
correctly drawn
coherent
ones
yeah.
are the references. Yeah.
So it's like that abstract kind of like
Yeah.
it wouldn't work if it was the same.
It's
Like,
it's like
mo-
an
on
abstract
model.
kind of like it's like a grab bag kind of humor. It's kind of like shit out of nowhere, and you're supposed to laugh at it. Like it's like that stupid so random button in iCarly. That's what this anime is kind of like.
It's so random.
It's so random.
XD.
That's so
lol.
random.
Oh my gosh.
And then you
To
got
Epic
the
Penguin
random
of Doom.
dancing, which is like the
dancing.
consistent gag that they would always throw out at every episode, which is basically the Bob Team
Random
Epic.
dancing.
So that's
You
what.
cracked the code. You cracked the
Yeah,
code.
that's-
You
that's-
cracked the code. This is just an
Man.
iCarly episode.
What can I say? I've
Dan
been,
Schneider
I've
should
been
have
a big
directed
fan.
You
this.
heard it first on Sugoi Kakkoii.
I've been a big fan of this for
Pop
Coma.
Team Epic is just an iCarly episode.
I heard Dan
Oh my
Schneider's
God.
trying to make this into a live action show
Oh
with
But
real
with,
girls
like,
that he
actual
can
little
molest.
girls. Yeah,
That he can molest.
if you showed it in this, he'd
no.
definitely be like all over this anime because it's got little girls, and that's what he's into. But
Oh man, that's a topic for another podcast.
yeah. But I want to say like one thing, since like this for Coma has been like my absolute favorite for the past like 2 years or 3, but like it had my favorite skit of all time, which was like what was it, Popuko, like, and she gets the phone call from Mary, and it was like, I'm in front of your house right now. And she's like, what did you say? And then like pulls out the bat. It's like actually my favorite.
And then she's like, I'm not.
See, what's funny is that when I saw that scene, I was like, and this was when I saw that scene, I was like, oh, I bet that's better horror than Ito Junji's gonna have next episode.
Ooh.
And,
Right, don't-
and then I actually
don't-
watched Ito Junji, and I was like, oh, I can't even make that joke
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Ito Junji
yeah.
was just
Yeah,
so
Shut your
good this
mouth.
episode.
You
Shut
can't-
your
But
mouth.
eventually, I
How
was
dare
like,
you
wow.
say like actually think
Shut
that.
your mouth.
No, Ito Junji definitely blew it out of the water. But that's for
Next
the next
doc.
segment.
Yeah.
I do think though that the alien cat scene was more terrifying than it was hilarious. Oh
Yeah,
my
that
gosh.
belonged to
That was
Ito
so-
Go
Junji.
away.
And
Go
that's-
away.
Go
That
away.
belongs to
Go
Ito
home.
Junji.
Yeah, that was legit scary.
Oh my god, they're
No, like that was probably like the Earth, Wind, and Fire bit was definitely the best part of the episode, and like
Yeah.
both segments, female and male voices.
Yeah, if that
But,
pops
like-
up in iTunes, I'm buying it.
I wonder how the dub's gonna
Let's
do
pop
this, because
together.
if they just sing "Let's Groove," they're gonna get sued. like it was a parody of an American song, but it worked because it was in Japanese. But how are you gonna like translate the
that's
Japanese
true.
parody of that?
Did anyone watch the dub
my
for like
gosh.
the previous episode where it was like they sang that pop school idol song? I don't know.
Yeah,
So like if they did that in English, then
that wasn't a real. Was that a parody of a real song?
it's a parody of like a franchise, which is like a school idol.
Well,
song
yeah,
put
but that
together.
wasn't like a specific. Like this was literally just "Let's Groove." If it was just like vague Earth, Wind, and Fire, then yeah, they could get away with it. But it was literally like the scroll, like the font at the very beginning is the exact same one they use in "Let's Groove."
Yeah.
Like the whole thing.
yeah.
Like I don't know how they're
Um.
gonna like slide that under the rug. Like
I don't know. I also thought the Demon King and the Ottoman chair thing was funny because I thought that the logic behind trapping someone in comfort was more believable than Death March's
yeah,
terrible power continuity.
better Demon
So-
King than Death March.
Better Demon King than Death March. So I mean that's all I was gonna say. Honestly, it was nearly a better fight scene than Death March, but now we're just bashing. But
Yeah,
I love the part when Popuko took
Pop
out
Team-
her
Pop
her
Team-
magic gun
Pop
and
Team
started
Epic
shooting.
like executes it well with less than half of the budget used from Death March.
Well, Death March
They
doesn't have a
actually
budget
had budget.
either. They had two montage scenes that were just still frames.
oh my gosh, you're right.
Like they don't have a budget either. Not pretty much no one but Violet has a budget really. Ramen's kind of does.
Yeah, Robin's kind of does.
Hmm.
Also, before I forget, I did research. Apparently, the reason why the episodes are split between male voice actors and female voice actors is that there is a gag in the manga where Popuko and Pipimi were basically like, oh man, if we got an anime adaptation, I want to be voiced by a male voice actor.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny that they remember it, and
Yeah,
it
that's
sort of
cool.
shows just how committed like the creators of the show
they definitely
because
care the
they're
most
just-
about the source material.
They're so good with just remembering and tying in almost every subtle gag from the source material. It's insane.
Yeah, you can
I
definitely
think
tell.
it's
Even
great.
if you don't find it personally funny, you can definitely tell everyone who made this had a blast. Like they
definitely
were
had
dying.
some
in it.
fun making this one. Not like I
Yeah.
don't know, some anime.
The song.
I also
man.
like how they like.
people who work with Death March was in their Death March. You know,
God.
I can't imagine anyone making.
I liked how they
Yes.
advertised their new manga volume while
Yeah.
the
Right now.
Let's Groove
Oh, yeah?
is going on. That was funny. Yeah.
that
They're
was the
just
best
like,
bit.
oh, by the way, our new manga volume is on sale now. Like that was like the little.
I listened to it like 10 times. That was definitely a highlight of the series. Carried the episode.
Oh wait,
Honestly, make that the opening. Better opening than Citrus. Better.
No,
opening
the thing
The
is, Pop
opening
Team
for-
has a great
yeah,
opening.
Pop Team yeah, it has a really good opening and a really good ending. I find both being
No, I didn't even get to bring this up in Death March, but Death March is like music wise isn't that bad. Like both like the opening and the ending aren't that bad. The visuals aren't great, but the actual
let's not talk
music
about
isn't.
visuals.
Yeah,
Well-
but the actual music isn't horrible. It's better than Citrus's. I skip Citrus's every time.
I
Well,
keep
to wrap
saying-
up Pop Team. Any final thoughts
Oh,
besides anything
I-
related to?
I want to ask you guys a question. Since Greg brought it up, which one do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the female voices or the male voices?
I think it depends on the skit.
For this episode, male.
Yeah, like this one.
For this episode, male, because
yeah,
the
male
male
like
voices
singing.
were better at the Yeah, they were better at the.
Like that
singing
was
skit.
really funny.
Yeah.
But like there were some that
That
I
was-
think the girls do pretty well. Like they convey really well.
But at least for this one, I think it was the male. So, all right. So with that said, I guess we can conclude
Junji
Pop Team Epic.
Ito. Junji
And now
Ito.
Junji Ito. All right.
Good episode.
Now-
Oh, literally scarier than Junji Ito.
No, I
Screw
know. That's
you.
why I said it was a joke that I realized I couldn't make because I watched Junji Ito and I realized that, oh my gosh, this was the episode that I was waiting for, because I've mentioned before that that when I went in with the expectation of jump scares and really ominous endings, and I got both. We got the jump scare, and oh my gosh, it was made all the greater because I wasn't expecting it at all, because we didn't have a jump scare for 3 episodes, so I was like, why would there be a jump scare? And then all of a sudden, Hideo comes in with holes all over his face in the window, and,
And Greg's
What
glasses
was that?
crashed
What was
and he
that
fell back
fear?
in his seat.
What was that fear with
That
like
was
having holes?
terrifying.
It's like that's a fear. That's not a fear for an actual thing. What was it? I know it's an actual
no,
fear.
yeah, like,
God.
Oh yeah,
there are a lot of
it's
changes.
trypophobia.
Yeah,
Trypophobia.
that's
Yeah.
definitely a big trigger. Like,
Yeah, I was like itching, itching. Like I read
Oh
that
my God.
before, but watching it's even worse.
no,
yeah, oh my
I
gosh.
felt like they could have made it even worse if you think about it. You know,
Like
that,
showing the bugs going into the
Yeah.
hole, like
Oh
more.
my
like,
God,
into
that's
the-
a
That would've been
concept.
terrible.
That
Because
is a
they
concept
showed
I
like it
wanted
like
to
for
see.
2 frames, and I like looked away, like nope, not doing that.
No.
No, that was a concept I was willing to see. Like, I was like, oh god, I hear her talking about the bugs, and then he explains about like the bugs. I was like, oh shit, you know, it'd be so cool if they like showed the bugs like entering and like, and then I started
Like they
hearing
showed like
them
2
talking
frames of
about,
it, like
oh,
vague
God.
tunneling, and I couldn't even do that. Like I was like,
Yeah.
nope, Like if they showed it crawling out of the holes,
my
I was
God.
like gonna
Oh
vom.
Jesus Christ!
I was gonna
Dude.
vom.
Yeah, I'm going home after that. I'm not watching it.
Yeah, oh my
Call
god.
I
me
stand
off.
by. This
No.
is like the
Sorry.
best voice acting. This is like better than Violet voice acting, and maybe because it's just horror and more emotional.
Debatable. I would
Debatable,
debate
big
that,
debate.
but
I'm sorry.
I do think
Wow.
that given that the voice actors that they change constantly with almost every volume, I do think that yes,
Yeah. Same.
this is good given what they have to work with. I did think though that just like Shiver as a volume was so good. Like even when Rina was cured from like the curse, that was after Hideo died from like the what even was it called?
The
Like
curse.
the gem, the jade. Like after she was cured, it ended zooming in on her expression, and it was just so creepy because it had like the same like really ominous like chill giving smile that she had when she had like the holes on her arm and she was looking at through the window at Yuji, and I was just like, oh my god.
I was expecting him to be mad because she didn't die.
That's
like,
right.
No, I wasn't mad that she
die.
didn't die because I almost thought that it was more creepy that she was alive.
I felt
Like when the doll thing ended, and like I'm like, oh, Greg's
okay,
gonna love
we'll
this
talk
one.
about the doll thing later.
Greg's
I
gonna
thought
love
that the
this
House of
one.
Puppets ending was the best ending that
was it?
I knew you would. I knew you would, because everyone died.
But no, it's not because everyone died. But I'll talk about that later.
But was it her
Shiver.
plan for him to get the jade thing like this entire time since she's been pointing at it? Like she wants someone to take the curse away from her. Was that like her plan the entire time?
Yeah, like that's the creepy.
That's like
thing
the
that I
implication, yeah. Like she wanted to
Okay.
pass it on.
Like, oh man, that was, because when you just get a face value of this, you're just like, holy crap, holes. But then after you think about it, you're like, oh my god, Rina is, this entire thing was just shiver and
But hey, I felt good.
Wow,
After-
but
feel like-
crash.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay. Well, does anyone have anything else to say about Shiver before we get on to House of Puppets?
No, I mean these are all like stock, like his body horror. I mean that's what he's famous for. Ichi's famous for. Like,
Yeah.
So if that happened to me, I want to vom even thinking about it. So that's why it works.
Yeah.
I feel the more like
That's definitely why.
the more like empathy you get by like looking at this stuff, the creepier it gets.
Yeah. Alright, well, in that case, we'll move on to the second volume in this, and House of Puppets was what I've been waiting for in Iso Junji. Like, because... Okay, so I already had a sense of what was coming when I first saw, like, the intro of, like, how there are all these, like, puppets, and immediately I was reminded of, like, you know that Polar Express scene?
Oh, like the
one
really
where he's
out of
like,
place
"You're
creepy
"You're a
puppets.
doubter,
Where
a
the
doubter
creepy
who don't
puppet-
believe in
I-
ghosts."
Yeah.
That was what I was reminded of, and I'm like,
Same.
this is gonna happen in this.
And you started
this segment,
hyperventilating,
isn't
like,
it?
no.
And it sort of did. And what
Polar
what was-
Express.
like you know that you have a good volume when you already think it's creepy before it actually gets bad, because when Hideka's no, not Hideka, Haruhiko's brother was and his family was being just like tied like puppets, I already thought that was just creepy by not only just like, oh my god, they're acting like puppets, but also just from implication. Because here's the guy that said, oh, I'm running away from home because I don't want to be controlled by puppets anymore, and then
The symbolism is he is a puppet.
it was that was already creepy, and I was like, oh my god, that I already can tell something bad's gonna happen. And then Jean-Pierre the puppet went insane and pulled, like, once again what I was saying with the Polar Express scene, and oh my gosh, dead Hideka with like the stab wounds.
Yeah,
oh
that's
gosh,
pretty
that was so scary.
wanted-
Well,
I
like
wanted that to
like
be a
dolls
little
are one of
more
those subject matters you
scarier.
can just like say and you're gonna creep people out. Like it's like
Oh, yeah.
clowns.
Yeah.
Like say dolls, clowns. No, like you're like on edge.
Yeah. Like, this episode, I really don't have any complaints about it because it was just so good at capturing everything. And as I was mentioning, I think that this has the best ending out of all the volumes. And it's not because all of them died. Because, like, even though they were all transformed into puppets after Jean-Pierre, like, was smashed, what I thought was even more creepy is that before it's revealed that Haruhiko's brother's family is like puppets, the first thing that Natsumi, his sister, says is that she can't move, and it almost foreshadows that she is going to become a puppet as well. It just hasn't happened yet, and I thought that was even more creepy, just the fact that this isn't over, because just the entire idea of becoming a puppet, like, already the metaphor is there, but I also thought that it was just a creepy imagery.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
I mean, like,
Definitely gave me chills.
I think there's kind of the appeal of like you don't know like what Jean-Pierre was at all. So it's like it's like the unknown. Like this, like the unknown's always scarier. But if they came out, it's like Jean-Pierre is a ghost of my great grandfather, and he's mad because he was a puppet of his dad. It's like it'd be way worse because it's like, yeah, okay, we get it, but like we have no idea like why he's doing this, so it's even worse.
Yeah, I like the mystery and confusion behind like origins of things, and I like the fact that he leaves them open to like possible thoughts on how it could have like been. Like I like the ending where he threw out like a theoretical question kind of like thing where he's like, were they puppets all along, or were they like puppets for they became puppets because they acted like puppets for so long, or were they just puppets the entire time?
Or were they puppets because they were puppets? Maybe they were puppets because they were puppets.
They could have been like super realistic puppets, and then when Jean-Pierre died, like the curse of being super realistic just lifted off them, and they became puppets. Like that could have been the thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really makes you think. Really activates my almonds. There's so many
implications here. Yeah. It's just.
It makes it fun.
It's just scary thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
just keeps getting better and better.
To describe it. Good way to describe it.
Even though Greg was a naysayer.
What do you mean I'm a naysayer?
Well, it's scarier than she eats. I don't pick on ramens. I don't pick on ramens.
Oh, we definitely have enough time to pick on ramens today. Yeah. I have some notes. Definitely.
Uh-oh.
I don't really think that ramen deserves to be picked on, but whatever. If we don't have anything else to say about Ito Junji, then I guess we can move on.
Well, we're over time and other stuff, so...
Yeah, we need to make up for time. So, in that case, we're on to ramens. Now, first thing I'm going to say is I told you guys so. Called Niwaka Samurai.
Well, I called that he was going to be a bounty hunter episode 1. You can go back and check that.
I don't know. I mean, you didn't believe me when I said that it was Banba. And it was Banba.
Whatever.
It was so obvious. And I almost, like, even though I got the satisfaction of being right, it was kind of a letdown. Because it was so obvious. And I was really hoping it wouldn't be that obvious.
I was going to say, like, it's a letdown because they showed it off way too early, episode 4, and then they showed off.
Yeah, they did show it off way too early. And that's where
it fell.
Like, okay. So, this episode was objectively better than episode 3. In that,
you
could tell the reason why episode 3 existed was because it was the setup episode for all of these, like how they had a bunch of flashbacks to how all these things were arranged. I almost was, like, reminded of, like, heist movies, where you have, like, those, oh, this is how I pulled this off. And, like, in that way, I do agree, I stand by the fact that Rums is so much like Baccano, in that you have all of these different elements and you're trying to say, oh, this is why this happened. It's because everything's interconnected. What I think the problem lies in that they tried to combine the atmosphere of Baccano and the quirky characters of Durarara, but couldn't do either to their maximum effect. And even though I liked this episode, I thought that it was rushed, because where do we go from here is basically
well, now it's just like what? Well, the preview was like, oh, there's a new character guy, but like
there's a new character.
If you have like 4 episodes dedicated to like your setup arc, I don't know what you're like planning to do like arc wise for the rest of the season. Like, is the next story the rest of the season, or are we gonna get like 4 episode chunks?
And like it's really a letdown, I guess, because like the Niwaka Samurai, you can already tell that even though it's like this huge legend in the Hitman community, as soon as it gets revealed, which obviously it just was in episode 4, it's not. But like the Niwaka Samurai, it's
but only to the people who already knew, though. People already knew.
Yeah, it's gonna lose its wonder
to us,
and I think that's to us. Well, to us, but I also think that it's foreshadowing that like people are gonna find out. Other people are gonna find out as well, and I'm like, if I were to make a Durarara analogy, as usual, spoilers for Durarara, by the way, but when Mikado is revealed to be the leader of the dollars, it's done so late in episode 1 that you have like this expectation and you're built up that it's going to be this like really powerful shady figure, and then you realize it's the main character that you've always been with, and he just pulls it out of nowhere, but he's still passive and like really scared about it. Like it's way more satisfying of a reveal than this. Because
that's the problem,
and I guess that's the problem.
Because they didn't
is that
build
Ramens is trying to
If it was
trying
like
to copy,
they
but they
didn't
can't
have-
do it.
The problem was that they didn't have like any initial build up to begin with when it came to the stupid samurai, because like all he was like a stupid myth. It was like, oh, you know, that guy, the samurai, the hitman, all hitmans are gonna kill you off and whatever. It's not like something surprising at all. And then it shoots you off with like, oh hey, by the way, Banba is him, and then like I don't know, like, and then I felt like this episode would have been like a good ending episode because of the fact that like they killed off the entire conflict with the stupid mayor's son or whatever, which was I felt was super rushed because they could have had time to extend that if they wanted to another episode, but they didn't. Which is I don't know why they.
I guess it's more like you want to give.
Yeah,
we'll
they
see
wanted
where
to get it over with. I guess I felt like they wanted to get it over with.
The fact that they rushed it so much means that they think they have something else that they want to tell.
Yeah.
The baseball
I
arc.
imagine they do, because there is a huge cast of characters.
It turned into baseball. We called it, everybody.
I called it first. The baseball arc.
That.
Yes,
I
definitely called it.
that
Which is,
hilarious.
I think, is a better call off than stupid Banba's becoming the samurai hitman, because I felt that was
baseball.
Don't want to be acquired skill predictability. I felt like that was a bit of
acquired skill baseball. Title
but,
acquired. First baseman.
We had that stupid Lin Xiaomei, and he had a talk with Banba, which is like, well, I have no use for being here. In my head, I was like, yeah, you basically have no use to being here. Why don't we just end this anime right here? 4 episodes in, the anime is over. The rest of them is the baseball episodes, and it's baseball anime. So that's what I'm essentially going to say.
Yeah.
So what I felt
it's a spin-off. It's a spin-off.
A basic like ending to. It felt like a semi-ending.
It was an ending to an arc, though. Like,
a bad ending.
As much as like we're bashing Ramens, I do think that, like, and don't get me wrong, I do think that it's sort of disappointed, but I feel like it disappointed in that I expected after episode 3 for episode 4 to be great, and episode 4 was just good. Because I do think that there are a lot of good things about episode 4 that did happen. Anything from just like Enokita's whole betrayal thing, and it wasn't really a betrayal. And I also liked how the Avenger got more screen time, because he's slowly becoming my favorite character in this series.
I like the little girl.
But
I want to see her kill
but
someone.
Who hasn't not done anything.
What
I want to see her kill someone.
she probably will.
I want to see her vor someone.
Yeah. Can we please see some more vor action in any of these animes in the docket, please?
Yeah, it's like we have Citrus. It's 2018. Where's my mainstream vor
we could
anime?
have had a chance. I had high hopes for that vor scene in Death March. I wanted to see the little blob things vor the people, but it didn't happen. So,
hey, no spoilers,
no
but Satu gets really big in episode 7, and he eats Xena.
Next episode is a very big
class.
food episode. The emphasis on food.
Yeah, it's like, wow, she tastes like honeysuckle.
If we're gonna
and
talk
then there's a
about
bath
Satu,
scene.
then can we?
No,
If we're gonna
I
talk
don't
about
need
Satu, then can we
slaves.
talk about how? Can we talk about how he literally threw a baseball?
That was
Oh
awesome.
my god, I put that in my notes. Oh,
That was awesome.
That
That was really cool. That was really cool. But like he threw a baseball and knocked out the guy with a gun.
He's my favorite character.
I suspended
So
my
what
disbelief.
He's
'cause
my
it was a
favorite character.
Cool, like redemption scene.
No,
He only
I do-
knocked him down. Well, he got his gun out and then he like crumbled in defeat because he like knew he was gonna die.
well,
Yeah.
I wanted to see him actually like crush his skull with a baseball, but he didn't. So I was actually pretty disappointed on that one. He kind of let me down. He let me down. I thought he was gonna.
I'm more interested. I'm more interested in Banba and Lin's relationship than Citrus's, like between Mei and Yuzu. Like,
Oh my
if
God.
we're talking about gay love for this season, I ship that more than I do.
No, that like Lin's existence confuses me. Like, I don't know if like I find her like cute or like
Her.
him. It makes me feel uncomfortable calling him a her. I mean, like a him, because he doesn't look like a him. It's a her.
Well, like if you look back, like why would he be a boy other than to appeal to the Gregs of the world?
Oh my god.
Yeah, what was the catch? I don't know. Maybe it's to make
Like he could have just
the
as
anime stand
easily
out.
just like been a girl. Like he's only a guy for like. Can you? Well, Greg, can you give me a reason why? Why is he a guy?
I can't give you a reason why. And the thing is, I find it weird because typically if you're going to have, like, typically in anime, when you have, like, the trap, you have a female voice actor, or at least someone with a higher pitched voice. They don't even try to disguise
It's like a
Literally
guy's
just
voice. It's like
we
a
already
super
went
guy.
through this.
rolling in,
We already
which
went
is,
through this.
like,
He's not.
the deepest.
He doesn't care because like he's just cross dressing for fun. He doesn't want to be a girl.
Yeah, he's doing it for fun. Like, it's not in the same sense that, like...
It's not for
what's-
the same sense of
But
like
that's not
male
like okay.
appeal.
I
It's
know,
not male
but like
appeal.
character-wise.
Yeah.
But that's it. There's no point.
know, it hurts
beyond
my head.
Appealing to yeah.
Like, what is the appeal in this? Like, it's just a guy dressed up as a girl.
It's not even like oh well, it's
Yeah,
a
I don't
metaphor
really
for
know.
his cloaking of real. No, it's just there for like people to be like, oh yeah, do you see Lynn in the new episode? Oh man, that baseball
Yeah.
outfit. Oh,
And I think that sort of ties in again to how this anime is trying to be way too much like Durarara in trying to get all of these quirky characters because they aren't established enough for us to care yet. And that was what sort of surprised me was even though episode 2 I think is the best episode of this entire series and that it like connected everybody immediately, I was a little bit hesitant because it connected everybody way too early for this, and I feel like from
I agree.
here it's going to be a little bit more disappointing.
well now it's
I
not
I
like
was hoping.
it's not complicated anymore because now everyone's
Yeah.
on the same side.
I agree.
Yeah, everybody's on the same side, which is also
I feel like
another
I
regretful
feel like
thing.
Ramens
is that
could
everybody's
have
on the same
definitely
side.
extended this episode from like not from episode 4, but they could have extended it to like the very end, and it would have been felt like an ending as for the entire anime. I felt like
And if they wanted to tell another story,
Yeah,
they'd have
and
another season to
and
tell
then maybe
it.
episode 12 could have been the all baseball episode, but okay, but like the fact was that they could have expanded on every single separate like world or like section of this story, and they could have built it on like different episodes and then make them meet up on a separate episode at the very end, and then that would be the ending, but they didn't, so
Yeah.
it was just like
Like if I were to
But they did.
if I were to say anything, it would just be like have Ramens and Violet Evergarden switch their pacing, and you'd have 2 good shows.
Nah.
Because I don't know.
I didn't like how what is it? Who's the guy who kills with the baseballs? Whatever his like, what's his name?
Sato.
Well,
Sato.
I didn't like how he got like, it's just like a little thing that peeves me off. But I didn't like how he got plastic surgery. Like it was just out of nowhere. I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
And it didn't change
I mean, it
anything
wasn't
either.
out of
I
nowhere.
paused
I
it.
think.
I paused the screen and I checked because I wanted to make sure what they changed. And I
wasn't-
looked,
I couldn't
and
tell.
it was nothing. It was nothing.
I
It was like the eyebrow shape, and not even that. And like, why did you call attention to that? He doesn't look any
No, but
different
the thing,
at all.
the thing is though, when he's being animated, I actually could tell a difference, like
Yeah.
from previous animated Sato and like the new animated and like the baseball scene. I could tell a difference in his face. But when they did that side by side, still I couldn't.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't
okay,
know why.
but plot wise, that doesn't make sense either. Because if he was still, why would he still suspected of that murder if they made
it's
the
already
guy,
over.
if the son confess to everything?
Yeah, like
yeah, I mean,
like what? Like
I-
oh, just a precaution for what? He admitted everything.
yeah.
No.
Once again, I feel like it's just they're rushing, trying to get the quirkiness of the characters out because like the plastic surgeon needs screen time if he's going to be introduced.
no.
my God.
So
The plastic surgeon, he didn't need screen
Well,
time.
they wanted-
He was
Yeah.
already there. The
Well, they wanted to be like,
no,
by
but,
the way,
like,
they wanted to say
he
like, by the way,
he
he
was-
also does this because this is probably going to be a plot
Yeah,
point
like-
later on.
yeah,
yeah, because like he was on the baseball team, so they have to say, oh, he's relevant.
he was there.
Because he was there for like one episode, for like 10 seconds of an episode even. So oh gosh.
Aw.
Well, in any case, let's get to lists.
List.
'cause I think we wrapped up
Okay,
with
Yay.
this is me. I start
Roman.
off.
So
I go
we'll
first.
start with you, Caden.
Okay, so I'm going Violet, then Junji, then Pop Team, then Ramens, then Citrus, then Death March.
Damn.
I moved Junji up past Pop Team.
I agree with everything. And I'm glad that you moved Ito Junji up, because it's not saying that Pop Team is bad.
It's just that Junji keeps
It's
getting
that
better.
Junji
No, I agree, because like
blowing expectations out of the water.
even with me, I have like a thing
And
for
something has to go.
yeah. I have
So-
a Pop Team Epic is close to my heart, and I agree that Ito Junji is definitely ranked above Pop Team Epic for this episode.
I'm watching Violet
Alright.
too. I'm watching Violet. One
Yeah.
slip up,
Yep.
and you're going down.
Yeah.
Violet is on a
You're on
slip-
thin
Violet
ice,
is getting
boy.
on a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Violet is
Violet is
getting
definitely
on
on thin ice. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I feel like the next episode might be a good one. It
We'll
can
see.
redeem itself.
Yeah.
I wanna
It
see
has
a
room
Benedict
for
episode.
redemption. Not that it has
Benedict
lost.
episode.
It hasn't lost
Episode,
anything yet, in my opinion. It's been on a steady pace.
It hasn't lost anything.
Because
No,
Yeah, it hasn't lost anything, but it's in the same way that Pop Team Epic.
I mean,
has
if
it's
you
kind
think
of
about it-
it's kind of like get
So-
going. Like you're telling
Yeah.
me you're going some like Pop Team's making no promises. Like it's gonna turn into for Greg maybe for his anime is like a idol.
Pop Team Epic
thing.
knows it's
Oh
a
my
shitty
God.
anime.
Maybe that will pay off.
No,
like
they
they're not making
know.
any promises.
They're
Like there's no
they're
story.
definitely self-aware that they're a shitty anime. But
They're not trying to make like this is gonna turn into this. But Violet has like that underlying like expectation like we're gonna pay off, dude. Well, just wait.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it, and I'm hoping.
So
for
are
it.
you guys agreeing with my list completely?
Yeah, I'm.
Did I
actually
list
going
it
to
this week?
Yeah, well, at least for me, I am going once again.
Ooh.
Violet,
yeah.
then Ito Junji, then Pop Team, then Ramens, then Citrus, then Death March. I do want to make the distinction though that if there wasn't a baseball scene, I would have tried to come up with like a tie clause, because I do think that Ramens did enough this episode if there wasn't a baseball scene for it to at least match
Okay,
Pop Team.
wait a
But
second.
then the baseball scene
The
happened,
baseball scene
and I was
ruined it.
disappointed.
Are you saying?
The baseball
Are you
scene-
saying that you didn't like the baseball scene? Because I felt like
No,
What are you
I'm saying
talking
that
about?
I didn't
I loved
like
it so much.
Because
I'm
Greg,
saying
if you
that I
think
didn't
about
love
it,
and I didn't-
this entire episode, if you left it off at Lin saying, "Okay, Banba, I'm staying with you," there is no transition at all. There would be no transition. You could just literally stop watching this anime and like go on with the rest of your life, not caring about this anime, because there's nothing to transition.
No,
off.
it was all build up. Like you put on like iShield 21 and you watch the build up. Like I have to join the club. This was just a very elaborate build up for the baseball anime. That's the rest of the season.
That's why they need the baseball scene, because if you didn't put the baseball scene,
Why do you think there were so many baseball references?
Yeah,
It's because it's baseball anime. This is
Alright.
the sports anime of the
It-
season, everybody.
that's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, what
Big
about
bet.
you, Ariana?
Let's see. I'd say Violet, Ito Junji, then Pop Team Ramens, Citrus Death March. I don't know. At this point,
Nice.
I'm really
We're all in
trying.
agreement.
I feel like nice for the first time we all agreed on something.
We all agree.
Yeah.
No.
You don't
Look
see
at
that
us.
usually on this podcast.
Either we're getting more connected as anime watchers, or these shows are literally just
or
becoming
we're starting
exactly this.
starting to hate on all the same things together. Like
No, yeah, I think the good shows are getting better and the bad shows are getting worse.
okay,
It's,
okay.
That's the same
Hey,
thing.
take that back. Death
You
March is
take
doing
that
amazing
back.
right now.
Come on, sweetie.
No,
you're
it's
doing-
like,
you're doing well.
dude, cut
You're right, Death March is doing
dude,
amazing.
cut Violet
I'm
some
wrong.
slack. Their competition is Death March. They can't compete with that.
You are right. It's a slippery slope. It's a really slippery slope. So. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
one slip up Violet,
I
and
don't know.
Violet's going under Death March.
What if that just happened one week?
No.
No,
Like
Okay,
Violet
the
just turns into Death
The only
March,
thing
like
that
animation
Violet
is,
has
like,
going,
completely.
the only thing that it can slip up at this point is animation, and there's no way that KyoAni would somehow just lose all its money and just You know what?
They wasted their budget
No,
on the first
like-
3, and Death March was saving their budget for the rest of the season.
No, like
And
Q
then
Annie
it's
like
with
runs
this
out of money. They
beautiful-
start crawling to the studios who make Death March. You're like, please spare us a dime.
Like, please finish it.
Please spare
It's
us
like,
a dime.
okay, but we have to have food and bathing scenes. It's like, what? Like, we're gonna pay you. No. We'll do it for free, but you have to have food and bathing scenes. At least half the episode.
Q Annie doesn't care.
Oh,
They don't
okay.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I refuse to believe the Death March light novel goes on for more than like a sentence about like the food and bathing scenes. I refuse to. Because they have like page-long.
Hold on. Let me tell you. So when I read the Overlord light novels, let me tell you, there's a lot of descriptions of food in Overlord that were cut out. In the anime edition.
The anime cut it out because the
but
anime
in the
definitely
light
didn't.
novel, they gave a 2-paragraph description on like. Granted, these foods were actually ridiculous because like Ainz, he basically gives like this huge like these really ridiculous like dragon and like demon dishes, and like they're like really ridiculous.
So
like,
Death March is the reverse of
At
that.
least the
Only
dishes
a
are
Death
actually
March thing.
interesting. Not like stupid
yeah, but
fucking.
like, this isn't only a Death March thing. There is food in every single like ridiculous.
So,
isekai
wow.
now.
So this is honestly
Like
this
a
is
bread
this
bowl.
is the first positive I said of Death March. It's true to the source material.
Oh.
Actually, yeah. Actually, now that we think about it, if
I need
you
to like
thought
read the
of
Death
an
March
isekai,
light
if you think of
novels.
an
Oh my God, are you
isekai, there's
serious?
always a tie
I'm
into
not
food.
going to read Death March. Actually,
I think I might want to now just to see if it's as bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think it could be as bad as that demon CG. That made me want to
No,
gouge my
definitely
eyes
not.
out. And I watched Citrus, but
Okay, so are you saying that Death March CG is worse than Citrus's? With the fact that Citrus uses
the demon was, but the knights
Citrus
aren't that
uses-
bad because it makes sense. It makes sense that they look exactly the same.
I'm just
Yeah.
so pissed that they did my lesbian girls dirty, dude. I hate it. They spent
it's bad.
CG on
When I went
The
into
sidewalk.
Citrus, I was honestly expecting like the seriousness of like Violet. I was expecting like an actual like romance story.
No,
yeah.
And then I get this.
I'm so
Yeah,
mad.
I'm afraid though that Studio Passion thinks that they're trying to be serious,
They do.
and that's what
they
scares
they
me.
definitely
Is that they
do
actually
think they're being
think
serious.
they're that serious,
They think they are,
but they aren't.
they
they
think they
aren't.
are that serious, which is the sad part.
Yeah.
Which is the
They
problem.
think they're like, oh wow, Violet
I
has
think-
nothing on us.
Yeah, I think the problem is that they gotta be self-aware with their shortcomings, and just
Yeah.
just embrace the fact
Like-
that
like-
they can't produce a good enough anime to reach the standards of like any other.
Like you don't see like Death March doing some ReZero like serious stuff. Like even that was like that's probably one of the
I
most
mean,
serious
it's trying.
isekais, and even that takes itself like not that seriously.
It's
Yeah. I don't know. It's some red.
It's a good show.
Well,
uh,
alright. Well,
Okay, we're signing off
guys
then.
wanna
I think.
close out.
okay.
Yeah.
We're just signing off.
Fall in love. Oh, are
Fall-
we doing the
Are we gonna-
fall in love? Are we counting? Okay,
Okay, do we-
count it down.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
3,
3,
2.
2,
1.
1.
Fall in
Fall
love
in
again
love
with
again
us
with
next
us
week.
Next week.
That didn't.
That
work.
did.
That didn't work at all.
That's
That
good.
was
That's
pretty
a good end. Cut.
All right, that's the end of the video. That's the end of the video.